Hello everyone, I'm going to introduce first section of internal combustion engine, valve timing. There are two topics including top 20 vocabulary words and valve timing. Part 1, top 20 vocabulary words. I'm going to read top 20 vocabulary words, which will also be repeated in the next few slides. Please listen to the words carefully. Camshaft, maximum lift, duration, timing, valve overlap, dial gauge, valve clearance, top dead center, bottom dead center, crank angle, observe, mount, intake valve, exhaust valve, degree, negative, layout, measurement, kit, adapter. Part 2, valve timing. The table shows valve timing parameters. For example, the maximum valve lift of intake valve and exhaust valve are 6.5 mm and 6.4 mm respectively. In this page, you can find the maximum opening points for the intake valve and the exhaust valve. In this figure, the valve overlap is minus 10 degrees at 1 mm lift high in this case. Layout of measurement kit is shown in this picture. It will also be introduced in a later video. I'm going to introduce my master student Danny to give a demonstration of MOP measurement.
Hello, today I'm going to demonstrate how to measure valve lift. The actual purpose of this experiment is to measure the intake and exhaust valve timing. Valve timing plays an important role in IC engine, especially when examined in terms of produced brake power, volumetric efficiency and emissions. The apparatus required for this experiment are dial gauge, block adapter, engine, crankshaft drive. Make sure that the piston is exactly at top dead center. The dial gauge is mounted on the intake valve. Now we will start the experiment by rotating the crank drive. The crank drive consists of a scale which measures the crank angle. Simultaneously observe the dial gauge for any movement in the valve. We move for every 5 degrees. We check if there is any reading on the dial gauge. Drive the crankshaft until you see the reading on the dial gauge. At 320 degrees of crank angle, we got the reading of 0.01 mm, as you can see in the video. And at 325 degrees, we got the reading of 0.007, and at 330 degrees, we got the reading of 0.033 mm. Now we take the readings for the exhaust valve. We must make sure that the piston is at top dead center. and dial gauge is now mounted on the exhaust valve. As we drive the crankshaft, for every 5 degrees we observe the dial gauge for readings. At 135 degrees of crank angle, we got the reading of negative 0.02 mm. As you can see as we record the values. And at 140 degrees, we got the reading of negative 0.07 mm. And at 145 degrees we got the reading of negative 0.013 mm. After finishing the experiment, please remove the dial gauge at first place. Repeat the experiment for 3 times, both for intake as well as exhaust valves, and calculate the average of the 3 values. When we convert the values into the graph looks as we shown in the video. The red line here indicates the intake valve and the other blue line indicates the exhaust valve readings. Thank you.
Thank you for your patience. I will see you next time.